just want the board to talk.
I could help.
We're not making an ordinance tonight. We're discussing it. We can't do this in private, we have to do this in public, so that's why
I
we're.
could shed some light on it, that's simplified.
So, are you finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
I can, distance and depth are clearly identified in even all the state stuff.
But we've done testing on our lake. I think we need to be specific to what we've learned from the things that are specific to Lakeview
I
as
agree.
requested.
I agree, and I think the Terra Vigilis report can provide some data on that.
When are we getting these buoys put in?
Next year.
Okay, so has anyone done the framework on these buoys on how they're going to pinpoint these areas? Or is it just gonna be 200 feet offshore? I understand on the west side, we're coming in at a certain point off of Kuchenbecker's Point, I believe was what was talked about. But like Bluegill Island, is that gonna be buoyed out, you know? I understand, I like what we're saying about, especially like Bluegill Island, and I think there's a couple other, on the other side there, but, don't we need to see what these buoys are gonna do though too, like, with the regulations, and it seems like there's a lot still that we could be learning from, in my opinion, but, I do agree with, I don't know if we need ordinance, but I don't know. That's my opinion.
So, we made the recommendation on the 23rd of June, and in, just discussions with Todd and others, what we have done at Potter's Lake is if you have a bay and it's shallow, you just go, maybe a little more than 200 feet, you just buoy out what is appropriate places to be, with higher speed boating. The other.
Zones, right? I mean,
What?
that's zones, right?
It's basically creating a slow no wake zone next to the shore.
No,
Over
I'm
there,
talking about deep area zones as
well, that's, it
kind of
pushes
what we're
everybody,
doing, right?
it pushes everybody out there.
Into it,
But
right?
then there can be a designated area within that deeper area. It doesn't, you don't wanna be coming up to the
Right.
200-foot buoy mark. And I don't think anybody would do that. But, so, we've used buoys, in Potter, it's all my references at this point.
Sure.
And so we block off things that don't make sense. It's not an exact 200 feet, and I think you tried to do that.
We have GPS locations with every single.
So, I'm sorry, I'm trying, anyway,
My other question is actually for Attorney Mills. If we're gonna have a public hearing on this,
I don't think you should say if, I think you have.
when we have, is that gonna be considered, and you know, I hate to say this.
No.
Legislative?
No.
Quasi judicial?
it's just, no, it's
It's nothing?
information. It's
Okay.
information. No decisions.
So
are
for
made.
us-
Information gathering, there will be no decisions made at that hearing. It's another opportunity to hear, new information that was not available at this past year's annual meeting.
Okay.
You know, for a moment there, I thought, we already had a public hearing. You know, isn't this gonna be a lot of the same? But there's been a lot more testing and more information out there that I think would benefit the board to hear from everyone,
Okay.
including those, test results that just came out.
I just wanna make sure we weren't crossing the line there, here.
Yes, ma'am.
I was at the presentation as well at the Lakeview Management District meeting. I was very encouraged by the Terra Vigilis, consultants. And I haven't gone into the details of the actual report, but I'm trying to remember testing depths, and I remember there 10 feet and 14 feet. I remember seeing one, but I'm sure I will be corrected, that's why I said I don't know if I even wanna mention it, but I remember 14 feet. But I was very encouraged by the consultant saying, you know, they have had success through education, mapping, rewarding good behavior, working collaboratively as riparian owners on the lake. And I'm encouraged that the management district did allocate funding for additional boat patrol in 2026, and we are working through that in our budget as well. The buoys that we've all been talking about will be placed in 2026. So I think we are making progress, and I think we need to take those steps and then see if that's enough, or if it's helped, if more, you know, changes are needed. But I think we have some momentum, and obviously now we're at the end of the voting season, so we'll have a little break. And so it sounds like 2026, we should be able to do some more measuring and understand the changes. So I was encouraged that ordinances are not needed in areas, and I think we need to give our community that opportunity as well to, at least start the process and make the process improvements without an ordinance.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, it'd be nice to get something set in stone, so we can get this done and over with and move on with their lives. It's putting neighbors against each other is not a good look to the town in general, so I think we need to move forward and get a hearing done, let's get the ball rolling here.
I know you said that hearing was proposed for like August of 2026.
No, I just feel
Yeah, a timeline, a potential
that would be at the
timeline.
end of the
Right.
implementation of those things.
And I think, yeah, if we see the increased police presence and some of those benefits, may bring different perspectives as well.
My concern is if we do nothing, are we gonna hear it for another year?
Yeah.
Constantly. So,
But we're not doing nothing.
I know,
We're budgeting police presence.
We're working on police, we're putting buoys out, we're trying to regulate. So, I mean, maybe to some people it seems like we're doing nothing, but I know to others, I think that we are moving forward as we're trying to do something without just going to do an outright ban. Because you know, I don't wanna do an outright ban if it's not needed,
No.
you know, but if it is, and someone comes in and says, yeah, I mean, we have to have the time. We have to remember, we don't have the time to hyper focus on this every single day, every single week, every single month. Like, you know, other entities are able to do that. We have to do this as a group, once a month, and try to figure it out from there. And we have to take that information that we've been given and go with it. So to ask us to make a decision in 4 months, to me, is a little out of line. When, you know, we don't have everything that we can do. We have to get this information ourselves as well. So. I guess I gave you-
can I ask the police a question? Supervisor Church suggested, and I'm generally in agreement, it looks like a distance from shore would be an appropriate thing. A depth is, from the DNR's perspective, less easy to enforce because the boat's moving, so you can't tie it to that spot. So that, they suggest that you tie it to a designated area.
What about the app? Wouldn't the app be able to create a zone for them?
I don't know about that, but anyway, my question is, what is enforceable?
expensive.
My initial brush on this, which Deputy Chief Rungy may add to, is if all the buoys that were applied for get put out, that is going to be a distance from shore of 200 feet, I believe is what their application says, which will give a clear definition offshore. Now, with Lake Beulah, it's different than a lot of lakes that I'm used to and most people are used to. 200 feet from shore, you could be in thigh-deep water, or you could be in 20 feet of water, and we just don't know. So that's gonna give the most consistency is from shore. But trying to do anything with depth, I think would be nearly impossible for us to try and enforce. So it has to be distance from each other, distance from shore.
Your issue of safe number of boats, the issue is we can't regulate numbers of boats.
I understand it's difficult, but I also think that, you know, we say that they have to be so many feet from shore, and that they have to be in depth. And that starts making that area very small, and I worry about the congestion that I've already seen on the lake, and how that might be impacted by further.
I think there's something to that. The town is corralling this activity to one area, and then there's injury because of congestion. We're gonna say, we're just trying to comply with what the town, how the town is regulated.
But then they shouldn't be able to operate if there's too many boats in the area. That's how you're supposed to know how to boat. You're supposed to have, you have laws for that. There's laws for that. And going back to, if I may, going back to what Chief was saying, if you have the same officer or officers on the lake patrolling, they know the depth of the water. And whether they give someone a ticket or not, but they continuously pull people over because they know that they're in the wrong area, it's going to slow things down. I mean, if I get pulled over every time I go out and I'm in the wrong area, it's gonna slow me down, I think, right? I mean, that's what the more policing is supposed to help with, right? Is to slow the people down from doing the wrong thing. I mean, that's what we're working for.
I think comparing the North Lake situation is a little bit different. Their lake is a closed lake. They have no public launch. Everybody on North Lake is only a riparian owner. I think that allows for much greater education, much greater peer pressure by the neighbors, and we don't have that. We've got a public launch that, you know, can have 30 boats parked at the launch, and yet people can still come in and drop their boat off because you can go park somewhere else if you have that availability. So I think the number of boats on our lake is a critical component to whatever step we take.
The only one doing anything with it is Sewer Tech, and they're doing it on Delaware. And they're trying to establish through drone footage, a maximum capacity.
Right.
And I don't know how long that's gonna take to happen, and until it happens, we can't even try and have it over here.
But if you take a look at the picture of the lake behind Supervisor Jenner, we've got the canals, the channels, not the canals, I'm sorry.
Right.
Backing it up.
Right.
And 200 feet we may not be able to necessarily put buoys out 200 feet from shore in a channel. So those,
That would be slow no way, that should.
that should be,
Right.
but we
That's-
also have to know that we have to up the education at the launch. We have to have better, materials to hand out to the boaters who come on our lake. I think that that's a critical component in terms of beating the education
But is that the town's issue or is that management's
It's the
issue?
management district. So, Deputy Chief.
I was just gonna say, as far as enforcement, depth would be very hard on our lake, just because I've been out there, the depths do vary quite a bit from one section to another, whether you're 200 feet out or 400 feet out, have shallow areas. The zones would be a little easier, again, you're congesting everybody to those zones, and to have a maximum number of boats in that zone would be hard enforcement, because who do you kick out of there?
Right.
We don't know which one is there first, which one has a right to be there. That would be a very hard enforcement area. But obviously, you know, we're here to enforce town ordinances, whatever they may be. We have to figure it out, but just my 2 cents on it.
I guess what I was trying to say, Chief, Deputy Chief, was just you guys being out there, I think.
Yeah.
It starts to slow things down.
100%.
You know, and when people see that, if we're able to have a full-time officer out there, I think that's gonna help tremendously. And whether you're writing tickets or not, if you see something and you're going, I mean, us as people on the lake see it all the time, it's crazy out there some days. And if someone was to pull that boat over and just say, hey, this is what I saw you doing, you know, we're trying to keep people out of this area into these deeper, I think that they're going to work with us, work with you.
Yeah,
That's
presence
my
is definitely the first
But I don't
step
know
to.
that for sure, that's just my opinion.
Anything else? Yeah. If there's anybody.
I would think that it would behoove us to perhaps consider an earlier time on a public hearing other than the end of next year. I think you're gonna get greater buy-in on education if that meeting happens before the voting season really gets underway. That's my personal opinion.
It can go anywhere. It was just a suggestion, kind of along the lines of Supervisor Leonard. He indicated, let's try these things and let's see what the result is, and then we can see that at a public hearing. That's the only reason why that was put in there. It can take place anywhere. So, the issue for me is I don't want it in December or January or somewhere where everybody's gone, off in their, winter villas or whatever. I just want everybody to have input on it. So it's either gotta happen pretty quick, we need a 30-day notice. So the best that could happen is probably in October sometime this year. Still not sure how that impacts, part-time or, you know, summer, winter residents. But, that would be probably the earliest we could do it with a 30-day notice. And you gotta notice it twice, I think. There's a lot of restrictions with a public hearing. So,
I'd like to table this till next month. Can you do that, to finish this conversation?
we can do anything the board wants to do.
I mean, are we ready to make a decision on what month we're gonna do a public hearing?
I just know that we're taking a lot of flack for not allowing conversations here. And my concern is you take that off and we're gonna fill another hour and a half at every meeting with wait list comments. It's gonna happen. That's what happened in the first couple months and at the electors meeting. So, the issue is, we've had our time to do some investigation and understand. At least I think we understand what the issue is. I'm not suggesting we have enough to make a decision, but the public hearing is purely an informational hearing where everybody comes. And you can have experts from both sides, you can have terravigilists there, you can have, anybody. PLB can be there, everybody can give their pitch. And then, the citizens can get up and give their pitch, and the divers can get up and give their pitch. And everybody hears it. It could be a pretty big deal, but at least you got one day and everybody's hearing it. That would be the only thing if we did it sooner. gather information, because there's no vote.
Right.
So I would make a motion that we schedule a public hearing for mid-July 26th, where we have some data from the activity in 26.
I'll second. Someone's got a second, right?
Right.
You don't
You
have
don't
to-
have to vote yes or no. Put something out there.
It's only a month from August 2026.
The middle of the voting season, right?
Any discussion on this?
I still think sooner, before voting season starts next year, is more impactful in terms of setting the tone for what we want on our lake.
I agree, I agree. I think we should be doing this, I want this done. It's not a good look. It's
Well,
not a good look.
Let's vote on this one.
hang on one second. If you do it before, much before July, you're running into, when is May? Okay, when do, we have 2 seats that open up in April? So you're gonna have 2 new board members, possibly, that don't know anything about it.
You do.
There's been enough
So-
discussion.
You either wanna give them time, or you wanna do it, maybe you wanna do it before.
These meetings are videotaped, they can watch the video.
Okay, I'm just putting it out there, I don't care.
They're not here already.
I like July, 'cause
Okay, so, any other comment on motion?
Well, no, but yeah, whatever you guys think, I mean,
Well, we gotta vote on the motion. We got a motion for July. And we have a second.
Any other discussion?
Okay, all in favor?
nay,
Opposed is later. See, you're out of filter too. So, all in favor?
I,
Opposed?
no.
No. So I think it fails 3-2. Is that what I heard?
so another motion would be 30 days from now? Make a
That's
motion
the
that,
earliest you can do.
make a motion to
You might wanna wait and check. We need to get, I think it's probably a class 2 notice, that means 2 insertions or posting.
Correct, there's 2 notices
Yeah.
plus 30 days prior.
So that's probably not gonna be enough.
That would be November.
Right.
Isn't that
Right.
still October, because
Maybe.
we're in the beginning of September?
Saying it takes longer than 30 days.
It takes probably
Right,
45 days.
30 days gets us to October 7th, which still gives you the rest of October, or 8th, whatever day today is.
Does it have to be 30 days from the insert, from when it's in the paper, from when it's published?
Yeah, I think that's good.
So then,
First post.
so then it's not October 7th.
It's at least, it's at
Yeah,
least 45.
I'm saying the soonest it can be in the paper is the 18th of September,
And that's the first one.
first insert, which is where you could count your 30 days from.
So
And if you
what day
wanna
is
do
it?
a Saturday,
It was the 18th.
you do the October 25th, because nobody's gonna wanna be here on Tuesday. If they have spots.
So
And
it's-
So
then,
the
are all the
October
riparian
25th
ones.
October 25th would be,
okay, does that work for everyone? 25? I mean, we're still discussing
I
this,
don't,
right?
I don't know, I gotta check.
We can video the public hearing, can we not? So
Do they
that,
all have
I
to be
made a
here?
motion, we set a hearing for October 25th.
Second.
There we go.
any other discussion?
I guess, it's to your point, how many riparian owners are gonna be able to attend? And see that.
The report coming in late August. Okay.
Are we gonna do overflow
purpose in having the DPW garage.
Go to the firehouse.
Not in October, it's not shaking the restaurant.
Firehouse?
October 28th might be trick or treating in Miramar also, just. 25th, sorry, yeah, 25th I think is trick or treating in Miramar, so just so you're aware.
Firehouse.
No one cares about cities.
Firehouse.
I motion to rescind my former motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I make a motion that, October 18th,
Yeah.
make a motion that we do a hearing on October 18th for lake surfing. Enhanced surf.
That's the biggest thing we got.
9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Next to renting the venue.
Okay, can't do it in the garage, you said.
On the 25th, he said.
Oh, the 18th is okay?
Sure.
I was hoping you were gonna say no. Go to the firehouse.
Okay, any other discussion? One question before we vote on this, can we add to this the ability to move the location based upon? One,
No, it has to be that before it goes in the paper.
no, that has to happen. Okay, so on this campus, the 18th,
18th, 9 AM, Town Hall campus.
okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Todd's opposed.
Just a heads up, if you want chairs, it's gonna cost you about $600.
I'll bring the microphones.
Just a heads up if we want to rent chairs.
You
instead
want
of
to have a
having
seat, bring your own chair, bring your own chair.
Okay, it passed.
Yes.
Bring your own booze.
Maybe we can talk to a church, borrow the chairs or something. I'll talk to a church. So we're, maybe St. Peter's, since they do nice things, we can make borrow their chairs. All right, thank you, everybody, for indulging us in that conversation. The next topic is the